Hi, I'm Peter Travers, and this is Popcorn, where we tell you what's happening at the movies. And the big adventure at the movies right now is called Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Jake will be with us in just a minute and tell us all about his daring do. But first, let's take a look at some of the action in Prince of Persia.
I promised my brother I'd kill you if he couldn't have you.
Well, the solution would be to kiss me and then kill me. But I have a better solution. I kill you, and your problems are solved.
Jake Gyllenhaal, welcome to Popcorn.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here. You are indeed the Prince of Persia. You're running, you're jumping, you're falling, you're fighting, you're swords, and even more difficult, you are speaking in an English accent.
Yes.
So which was the toughest thing for you to do?
I like the falling part, actually. The falling part is what I tried to emphasize as much as I could in the movie. I tried to get that in everywhere I could because I think that's what makes any hero interesting. But I think the accent for me was the most difficult part. It took like 3 months to kind of get my head around, and then about a month of embarrassment in front of Sir Ben Kingsley and Alfred Molina and all the cast of all Brits. When I came to set in the morning, I would put on the accent. I'd speak in the accent all day. So when I would travel around the set and did different parts of the crew, and as I would talk to different crew members, my accent would literally change from region to region. Mike Newell, the director, would say, I remember him stuff. I'd go and I'd talk to somebody from the south, south of London, and I'd pick it up, and he'd be like, "Darling, you're way too south. Move back over to the Queen's English." And I'd be like, "Oh, sorry," and then we'd have to do the takeover again and stuff like that. And my favorite part of Newell is when he likes a take, is when he goes, "Smashing!" like that. It's terrifying. Like, even if you're an intimate kissing
Wow, maybe
scene,
I should start that here.
You should.
Smashing! I like it. It's just, it's exciting.
That should be how you rate movies.
I should. It should just be
smashing or not smashing.
Or not smashing at
all.
Not
smashing.
Just using that one word would be so great.
Yeah. So for me, that was nerve-wracking.
Ostrich racing.
Every Tuesday and Thursday. Whatever they lack in beauty, they make up for in fighting spirit.
You reformed yourself to play this. I mean, we should say, Prince of Persia, I always thought the great excuse you would have is, even though you are the Prince of Persia, you are this orphan who came from God knows where, gets adopted by the king.
That's what I liked about the story, was the idea of this sort of purely, from the very beginning, very good-hearted. At first I had this weird aversion to it. I thought, there needs to be something where he's more flawed at the beginning, and then I thought, there's something wonderful and mythical about the fact that it's just so simple, particularly for kids, which I think when I think about movies like this, I think about being a kid. It felt like being a kid when you're jumping around, and when I was exercising to get into the role, and I was doing parkour, and I was doing fight training, and I was riding horses, I felt like I was a kid again.
Parkour, which you just tossed off.
Yes.
Is
Le parkour.
Le parkour,
yes.
What does it really mean?
It's this sport invented by a guy named David Bell, who is an acrobat, sort of gymnast. And at first, I think it was invented on the streets of Paris to avert, to get away from the police, really. So if you're running through a building, you run to the top of a building because you're being chased, how to get to the other building. So when I saw this parkour, which is the idea of going from, point A to point B, using whatever you can in your environment to get there, the quickest, shortest distance, basically. It's like Cirque du Soleil on the streets.
For a movie that is so light of spirit, which is what I really like about it, it has a buoyancy to it. It's like everybody's having a good time. But in order to do that, everybody has to be at least partly miserable. It's so hard to be buoyant.
Spoken like a true journalist.
Come on.
No, I mean, to be honest...
You're in Morocco, right? You're shooting it in Morocco.
Yeah, we're shooting in Morocco. It is very hot, and people have said,
It's boiling hot there.
It's hot there, but I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up near the valley in Los Angeles, so the topography and the weather is very similar to that. So I didn't have as much of an issue with that. I think there is definitely a reality to my relationship with Gemma Arterton's character in the movie, who plays the princess. When I first met her, I remember her being totally unimpressed by me, which, as you know, a narcissistic actor definitely, threw me off. And so she and I had a natural kind of tit-for-tat banter. And
you need to carry your certificate of nomination for an Academy Award and present that to people.
Do you know that I? And she's like, I don't know, your accent is horrible.
The video game, I've got to bring up the idea of the video
Yes.
game, because did that mean, were you a gamer? Did you grow up doing this? Were you?
Yeah, I played when I was a kid. I remember playing the first Mac computer. I'd play this game, The Oregon Trail, and Prince of Persia actually. The first original Prince of Persia came on that computer too. And I remember playing the original side-scrolling version of the video game when I was a kid. And then I played, Nintendo when it first came out, and I have a whole slew of my favorite games there. And then took a little hiatus until this movie came around. No card-carrying gamer here until I started researching the movie. So.
And then
what about you?
You could play it for, everybody at Rolling Stone is playing a video game at some time.
Oh, okay.
Whatever the new
one is.
Is
that a euphemism for something?
Well, it's a euphemism for no life. And when you do that, you have to have video
I would just like to clear something up, though, because maybe we can do it on your show, is that there's this whole thing about gamers being, like having no life. I have never, Jordan Mechner, the creator of this game, I have never seen more women attracted to a man. I have never seen more people excited about somebody. He's a rock star. I'm tired of that whole philosophy that, no life if you're a gamer. The fox went out on a chilly night, prayed to the Lord to give him light. Many a miles to go that night before he reached the town, oh, town, oh, town, oh. Many a miles to go that night before he reached the town, oh.